言うことは一つだけ。絶対負けねえ。僕に任せておけ。やあ
Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Nothing Excess here with another banner that we're going to be covering. This one's a little bit late because I've been pretty busy with stuff like Christmas and basically the holidays. So we're going to talk about it. This was the Midnight Sun Christmas transfer, along with the Christmas Pierre and Napoleon pack and the updates to the new hidden ability evolutions. We're going to go ahead and dive right in. We're just going to cover all of these different characters because there's a lot to talk about. So first off, we're going to talk about Stefan, Levin, the Aurora-Clad Holy Knight. He is the new character from the banner. He is a 70% auto pass cutter in blue. He kind of followed the trend right now of blue getting all sorts of crazy characters that make him better in the meta because red is just not cool. Like if you're playing red, you're not part of the cool kids. He has a 10,187 for basically unlimit broken intercept. Basically, when you do eventually limit break him, he'll have 11,687, and he also has auto pass cut, and he works great in Rainbow Europe since his team skill buffs all of Europe by 13%. Along with that and Aurora Intercept, which is an S cut with 485 cap and only 390 stamina cost. I mean, that's crazy. You're going to be able to use that in actual matchups, and when outside of matchups, people won't want to kick the ball over his head because he's super strong. His base pass is actually high enough that you want to limit break him on pass and speed, which is what we did here. We did pass intercept technique 25 and then speed 25. Basically, when you do limit break the passes, that way you have a way of getting rid of the ball. And the reason why you're gonna be limit breaking on speed is so that way he runs around and is in the way of every pass people send over him. Again, pro 70% auto pass cut, great pass cut skill, decent enough stats elsewhere so that Aurora Feint and Aurora-Clad are worth using. And his team skill, which is 32% Europe and then 7% all non-Europeans, is super good. And for cons, it's hard to say. He's a little weaker on offense. It's hard to hold that against him since he's such a good defensive midfielder on actual defense. 165 stamina does feel a little bit limiting, though. It would be great if he had a little bit more, but it is what it is. He's a gacha unit. He shouldn't be having crazy amounts of stamina like a Dream Fest unit. Now for his stats, as you can see, everything's kind of average around here, but it does result in an 8.9k pass, 8.7k tackle, which is okay, 8.5k dribble, but the real prize is the 10,187 intercept, which is really what you're looking for here. Finally, for his skill build, we're going to go with S Aurora Intercept. S Aurora Intercept is a very good intercepting skill. Again, we were just talking about how high the cap is. S Aurora Feint is a new dribble, which basically does the Aurora Curtain effect and then dribbles past people. And then A Aurora Curtain, which is, you used it before. On top of that, we're going to try to give him A11 pass if we can find it. If not, just use the B version. And then B Swift Interception, because that way, if you level this up, you can use this in matchups when you think that you're going to be able to get away with it. But you'll use S Aurora Intercept for everywhere where you must have the ball back. And really, if you do level up S Aurora Intercept, it'll be the thing that it's used primarily anyway. It's not going to use Swift Interception because it uses your strongest skill for free. So anyway, I think he's as an attacking midfielder and defensive midfielder, I think he's better as a DM. He's a clogger and an enabler. He steals the ball. He's kind of makes it hard for people to pass through in the middle, and then he takes the ball and gives it back to whoever needs it. I rate him S. Would you go for broke for him? Maybe. I did end up picking him up, so that's nice. Now, next up is Louis Napoleon, France's #1 striker. He is one of the 2 French players sold during Christmas when one of those 79.99 packs. I don't think there's much to say. He's in the 10k club with a shot. He has an A version of cannon burst shot as one of his secondary skills. His main skill is a volley, but for some reason his passive is enhanced special skills high flying, which does not help. It's kind of a weird and fun green striker for those of you who might be hurting for one, but he's not very scary. There's no other particularly high stat on him, so I don't know about throwing any money at him. Pros, if you give him his overhead from the Dream Fest version, I guess the passive helps out there. He's kind of basic, but he does come with a good Europe Rainbow team skill because it's just 10% all Europe. Comes with an A1 too. But for cons, I think he's not much of a threat outside of full burst cannon, which is not even the skill that his passive doesn't activate on. The skill that passive does activate on needs to be pulled for a Dream Fest unit, and it's not a very powerful skill. It's a base 415, so you feel robbed by his passive, which is 20% on high flying skills. it feels like a waste. As for a limit break, if you do end up deciding that you're going to get this guy, I'd give him 25 speed, 25 shot and power, and then 22-3 on the pass, so that way full attack's more effective. I rank him as a B, and I would not buy him. For his stats, as you can see, everything's kind of whatevs, except for the fact that he has decent shot and power, which results in 10.6k shot. He does have 8,000 block, which is his actual next best stat, which is depressing for lots of reasons. Primarily because it means that offensively he's kind of bunk. As for skill build, I'd give him 4 burst cannon, cannon overhead kick, keep the cannon burst shot, keep the Eiffel attack, and give him straight line dribble. But listen, you're gonna need some way to get forward. There's really just not much else you can do. If you have a Dreamfest Napoleon, it'd be good idea to outright pull the overhead to give here, and instead give him a different skill like A or S Eiffel attack. If you do have a duplicate Dreamfest Napoleon, you could take the S overhead and the S shot, but I feel like there's so much better characters to be giving that to, you know, better versions. So it is what it is. If you decide that this guy is the guy you want, go for it. If not, then you're not missing out on anything. Elle Pierre, Artistic French Football, is the other of the French players sold during the 79.99 pack. He's probably the better one of the two, since he can do more than one thing, and his passive was more useful, being a pedal to the metal, 15% to all stats when he's in full power. Pierre is an interesting unit, can play 3 different positions, while not being particularly stellar at any of his possible roles, but he is pretty good at forward. That being said, Field of Dreams is a crazy strong shot. It does require Napoleon, but it's strong enough to like maybe you might want to include him on a squad, especially if you have a Napoleon in front. Since he's blue, and let's say you have the blue World Cup updated Napoleon, but you have also the old Pierre, I think you'd rather run the old Pierre, because the old Pierre is a lot more flexible on a lot more things, and he just feels like a better realized unit overall, with access to more skills, and even though he has less stamina, I feel like you get more bang for your buck from the ability of the older blue Pierre to actually make the game. For pros, he's very strong skill selection with a great S shot. He has a basic but good Rainbow Europe team skill, and for cons, he's not really good at AM or DM because his stats simply aren't there. He's a forward disguised as a multi-position player with not a whole lot else. For limit break, I do the same as Napoleon. 25 speed, 25 shot, 25 power, 22 pass, and 3 technique. 22-3 pass to the split is what we call it. I still rank him an A, even though he's not that crazy. He is definitely a lot easier to use than the blue Pierre. He's just drop in and immediately he's decent at shooting, and his skill is easy to understand, so that is what it is. Would I buy him? Maybe. I mean, if you really must have one of the two because you love France or something, yeah, I mean, this character's of the two, this is the character to get. For his stats, you see, kind of mediocre all around. That means that his shot is 9.7, his pass is only 8.0. Nothing very crazy. It would be great if his pass was a lot higher, but fortunately that's not the case. As for his skill build, he has S Field of Dreams, which is a crazy good shot. As for the rest of the stuff that you should be giving him, is A Butterfly Tackle comes with it, A Eiffel Attack comes with it. Give him the B Artistic Dribble Attack if you can, if you don't have the A one. I mean, you could give him the A one, but I think the B one is probably better on this one. And as for the interception, if you have the access to A Magnificent Interception, give it to him. If not, just give him the B one, because the B one's kind of easy to farm. You know, you just find one SR version and then farm it from the Misaki raid. Now, let's talk about the hidden ability characters. There's a lot to talk about here. Gentile got a little bit of an update. Basically had an upgrade to go along with his already nice passive, which was a 30% Japan killer. This character has 9.7k tackle, and to hold up the wing, and against Japanese players, he's kind of a terror. With his hidden abilities, he actually buffs himself by 4% while on the field, provides other blue units 2%, European units 2%, etc., etc. This is a common theme throughout the actual hidden ability upgrades. Everyone gets a 2% to their same color, and then 2% to European units. So if you're playing like Rainbow Europe, playing all 3 of them is actually a reasonable idea because of the 6% on. I mean, you get 8% to every player on your team just from hidden abilities, which is actually quite nice. At the end of the day, the fact that just Gentile has a decent complement of skills to support him is just icing on the cake. He does have 2 hidden abilities that are very conditional. One of them you can't even use in PvP right now, which is the rain puddle resistance or whatever. The overall package, though, has been improved from the base Gentile, and honestly, I think that if you like that character, if you like him enough, he might find the starting spot in your Rainbow Europe or Agility team, especially if you got like Blue Napoleon and Morientis up there and you want to put them to use. Now, for pros, he's a great tackler, decent enough blocker that you may want to consider leveling his A block, and he kills Japanese players, but he just absolutely murders Aoi. If you're Aoi, he has a gun, and it says Aoi on it. It's just crazy. As for cons, there's not much else that he can do that isn't tackling or blocking. It's hard to recommend him in light of that. He's easy to white pass over, which will be a common problem over any hidden ability defender. But that said, the fact that he has 9.7k tackle and that he just absolutely demolishes Japanese players, for me is good enough to rank him S. He's not double S like the World Cup Gentile, but S is a very solid ranking, especially with his hidden abilities. As for his limit break, tackle speed, block power, just fully commit to the things he's good at. Some of you may want to do 22-3 on intercept simply because that way you don't get white passed over as easily. I don't think you need it, but it is what it is. Let's talk about his hidden abilities and rank them. All stats +2, both of them are S. One of them is for Europe and one of them is for agility. There's not much to talk about there. Aoi Killer, I think it's A. I mean, I think it's a little ridiculous, right? And you might think it's a little ridiculous, but let's be real. This guy just absolutely murders World Cup Aoi. And any character that can basically take World Cup Aoi and kick him in the face is a good unit. And so if you could play this guy to deal with that unit, then you're in good shape. And then finally, it's Rain Puddle Resistance. Listen, until these are actually in PvP, it is just useful for events. So it is what it is. As for his stats are, as you can see, kind of middling here, but okay down here. Even though he only has 5500 block, that does result in 8.1k block. Everything else is like in the 6 to 7s. And and except for his tackle, which is actually 9.7k, again, 9.7k is almost 10k, that's pretty high. And the fact that he has all these other features does make his tackling a lot scarier. For a skill build, you can't really do much with him skill-wise because there's not a whole lot of options. But just keep it at right angle defense, high power block. If you have a dupe, give him Dandy Interception S. If not, figure out if you can get the B block. And then a Dandy Pass if you have access to that somewhere, like from a spare Red Gentile or something like that. And a Power Talk rounds it up because this is easy to get to A80, so it's very strong. Again, I rank him a lot in S, and he's defensive attack. Robson Lionheart, you know, here's everyone's lovable trash can, you know. Everyone that's ever gotten this unit has regretted it. Most people have thrown him into the mixer or used him as a level of an A skill like I did. And we're regretting it a little bit now because he might not be great, but the fact that, you know, he did get buffed quite a bit in his stats. Not a crazy amount, but enough. And even though his auto block got bumped up to 70%, it's still insignificant. No one cares about that skill. But this guy is a reasonable argument for why you might want to run him instead of the new red one, especially after the hidden ability. The argument would be a lot more convincing if you had like a dupe S block somewhere, like maybe a dupe Dream Collection or a dupe of the red. If you can do that, then yeah, he's actually pretty terrifying. If not, he's just a really strong Rainbow Europe unit, especially if you level up his A block to A80. And now Pro, he has a special skill block, and we're going to talk about that, because it always disables a shot, which is nuts. And for cons, he really can't do anything else but block, so you do want to run him with someone next to him that can cut or tackle or something like that, so that you can do better. For limit break, obviously tackle speed, block power, and I think he's probably like an A unit. I wouldn't go for broke for him because he's bound to turn up in a stupid ticket you didn't care about. And his role is as a blocker. Now for his stats, he has again the Europe and red +2 to all stats. They're separate, so they do stack with each other. It's pretty nice. And now he does have special skill block, and it's one of the most ridiculous special skills blocks in the game. If he matches up against a shooter, one of their ground shots is disabled. That's it. They can do nothing else about it. I think it also works against air shots. I could be incorrect, but basically if someone runs up to him and they have a shot, it's off. It doesn't work. It's super good. So people are really going to want to prevent matching up against this Robson, which makes people play funny. So they're, you know, that's pretty strong by itself. Also, it says Rain Puddle Resistance, but this is incorrect. This is not Rain Puddle Resistance. He gets something else. Oh man, I am just absolutely whack right now. But he gets another hidden ability. It was pretty useless, if I do not wrong recall. We will take a quick look to see if we can't find what it is. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Look at this. We're just doing it live right now because we don't care. So does anyone actually care? The only English character in the game. Let's go. Let's go take a quick look at him. His last one is actually Bumpy Ground Resistance, not affected by Bumpy effect. So basically, just as useless. Block 9.5k, pretty good. Shot 7.4, whatever. Really, you're focused on the block. His tackle and intercept are really nothing to write home about, which is going to make it very hard for him to force people into actually shooting against him, especially considering that he actually disables their shooting. So he's kind of weird in that he's a blocker, but not really. He only really does blocking. He's only ever going to use those blocking skills against something like the new sword Machi that just released today. And yeah, this is how late this video is getting made. So, you know, it's kind of weird. I don't know what else could be done there. I mean, there's just a lot of strange things going on here. However, he is pretty strong against high balls, so if you do end up in a situation where he's up against a high baller, he will be able to do better against that than other units normally would. As for a skill build, high power block and high power tackle, just keep those. I mean, it's not like you can do anything about the first one. However, if you can find S perfect block or S high power block, try to give him that so that he has more options. A forcible interception to try to help you do other stuff, and C strong shot rounds it outside. That way you can have an option to clear the ball. There's just a lot of assumptions made in this skill build, right? Obviously that you found an S block to give him, and that you found a way to give him a forcible interception, or that you care about doing any of that. You could just leave him at high power block and high power tackle, and he still might be just as effective. But still, if I was you, I would recommend finding a good S block and leveling up to 30 if you can afford, because that will make his actual auto block vaguely useful. As for his ranking, I give him a rank at A, but I wouldn't pull for him again. You know, he comes out confident enough that you don't care. Now, for the final person in this banner that we're going to look at, it's going to be Brian Kluivoort, Eye of the Storm. Boy, did he get buffed. He got buffed in all sorts of ways. He went from a really mediocre midfielder to one of the more bizarrely useful utility midfielders in the game. They give him 500 to every stat, which is pretty great. His Inside Master got buffed from 30 to 50, which is also great. And on top of that, 90% of the time, his special skills are 10% stronger because of another hit ability, and that's great. And he also gets the Europe 2+2, but it's for skill this time. So if you're playing like a European team, he's actually pretty strong. If you're playing a green team, he's pretty strong. If you're playing a green European team, he's crazy strong. You know, there's just all sorts of places where you might really want to run this character. So he got a lot better. He went from really forgettable to maybe the best utility midfielder in the game. Did green really need that? No, not really. But hey, you know, we'll take what we can get. So for pros, he has 8.7 dribble, 9.2k pass, 9.2k pass cut, and 8.4k tackle, and 10% stronger skills, and 50% Insight Master. And you have 1110 stamina, so that you can just throw special skills around like crazy, because you're gonna need them, because that's kind of how he makes his money. You know, you're just gonna throw skills at people, and while you're in the midfield, people are gonna just, if they guess wrong, you probably take the ball, and if they guess right, then whatever. You know, you threw a skill at them, maybe you bump the ball back into the air. It is what it is. Fortunately, he's not like other characters where you can make a bad guess and still be rewarded. This is a character for people who are just really good at reading players in the rock paper scissors aspect of the game. For those kind of players, he's amazing. For people who like to force stuff, like just overpower people with numbers, there's just better options. If I were you, I wouldn't shoot with him. All in all, because of what they ended up doing with him, I think he's really like an at S. I think he's really strong. I might be overrating him because he's green, and I just feel that's, you know, I do tend to have some bias towards the green player since I do play green. But it is what it is, you know. His role is just balanced. He just does a little bit of everything, and he is an attacking midfielder. He does have access to special skill block, which is you flip a coin because his is 50%. Disable one of your opponent's skills. It's really toxic. He gets all special skills force 10%. So, you know, 90% of the time your skills are 10% stronger. That's really great, and it synergizes well with 50% Inside Master Passive. And he gets auto intercept enhanced, which is what True Captaincy gets, which is 3% bonus to auto intercept possibilities on the field, which is really nice. Playing with True Captaincy, and then it raises to 6%, and slowly but surely the number starts getting more and more toxic. Again, plus 2% for green and Europe players. Really nice hidden abilities. If we look at his stats, they're all actually kind of high. They were all like in the high 5s to 6s. That puts him at 8.7 dribble, 9.0 shot, 9.2 pass, 8.4 tackle, 9.2 intercept. Forget about this block. I know I forgot to change the color to the pass. His passing is his best at 9.2. But there is 9.0 shot. So even though he has spiral shot, if I were you, I recommend not shooting because he doesn't really need to. Now, you can get away with the B versions of things if you must, and you want to play the Insight Master game. So that would be his dribble and his tackle. But if I were you, I would try to figure out if you can get the spiral turn and the break tackle, and then to supplement his technical pass and swift intercept. Now, if you do notice, and I'm going to spoil this right now, there is an upcoming Dreamfest Brian Kluivoort. If you were to get that unit, and you were to actually get a dupe of that unit, you can pull off the pass and put it here, and it's actually a much better pass. And that would be a good idea. And a lot of you are going, well, why the hell would I do that? Trust me, since he can actually pass, and he has Inside Master, it's better spent on this guy than a lot of other players. And because he does also get an S interception, this new Brian, I would maybe consider replacing Swift Interception with it, but A Swift Interception is easy to level now, so it is what it is. Anyways, guys, that's enough for the banner. This is actually just like a little placeholder thing that I have for other stuff that when I'm building these PowerPoints. So thanks a lot for coming out here and enjoying the video and checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, please click like, leave some comments, tell me what you think about the new hidden ability characters, tell me what you think about the Levin, and tell me what you thought about the $80 French players, which I didn't buy, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't buy. It's probably just Haptic, because he likes the French players a lot. Let me know what you thought, and I hope to see you guys soon. And there's just I'm literally about to make another video. I'm about to make another video for today's banner, so I'm just gonna upload these both staggered, and hopefully you guys enjoy the sudden glut of content. See you guys later.